See, a human being is quite complex. We have a soul that longs for God, but we also have a personality, an ego, and that has developed, that has conditioning, influence of parents, and all of the dramas of being alive, being part of humanity. And when you really seriously commit yourself to spiritual life, you have to start to clear out some of the clutter you have accumulated in your life. And for this, it is necessary to have some psychological system. Otherwise, what happens is the bright light of the divine in you floods you and you get unbalanced. You have to become grounded in yourself. Sadly, there have been people who have become intoxicated with God, but then unbalanced, because they haven't done the inner work that is needed for grounding the human being. But you need a process to help you to prepare, help the inner self to prepare. And for this, psychological work I have found to be essential. For example, work on the shadow, the darkness within ourselves, one's anger, one's jealousy, those feelings that come up unexpectedly. They can, if you don't work on them, they can subvert the whole spiritual process. And when my teacher, Irina Tweedy, went to India to study with a great Sufi master, she found that his process of spiritual training was similar in many ways to the Jungian process of individuation. She said, she went there, she said, I hoped for instructions in yoga. I expected wonderful teachings. But what the teacher did was force me to face the darkness within myself, and it almost killed me. Because that is the groundwork for spiritual life. If you haven't done that inner work, if you haven't explored yourself psychologically, then the spiritual energies that come into the human being will unbalance you. You'll become ungrounded. But what is important is to work with a psychological framework that is not focused on the ego, that is really focused on the relationship between the ego and the self. And that is why in our particular tradition we've used the Jungian model of psychology, because Jung was at heart a Gnostic or a mystic, and his psychology has a deep spiritual foundation and respect for the divine, for the self that is in the core of our being.